Okay, welcome to another episode of Decode with Logor, and thank you for keeping up with it. Today we'll be discussing a new faith, a different type of oracle, a new religion, the one that is taking over all of our lives, my life, and I dare say your life. I'm sure you like my new shades. I thought they were cool. I decided to put them on the show. You see, these days when I wake up, the first thing I do, like you, pick up my phone, I check the numbers. As a product owner, I check the sign-ups on Get Urgent 2K. I check the social media for the likes, the reactions, so the marketing and the PR work. When I take the steps on my walk, I try to do about 6 kilometers in the morning. Technically, use my iPhone to monitor the number of steps, the number of stairs, and then the summary. I even check the account number to see what the strength of the account is saying. This is a different type of numbers game. Numbers rule our life now. A quantitative assessment of a qualitative existence, if I may put it that way. This is the new faith. Data, numbers. What is the readiness score? What is this sterile, precise measurement of our progress, of our actions? This faith does not deal with old gods, incense, or that stuff. It is of text, of precision, and of proof. It's a clean, sterile belief system where numbers are divine and uncertainty is sin. We call it prayer, these actions. I believe in this new faith. That is its own version of prayer. Let's talk about data. Let's talk about numbers and the new religion, where algorithm becomes the oracle and the dashboard is the altar. You see, we all have altars now. They glow in our pockets and on our desk. You probably call it your phone. For the executive, it is this quarterly dashboard. Like I said earlier, you have to look at the numbers daily. So professionals across different corporate roles and even creative roles. For the influencer, it is the engagement metrics. This is almost like a conventional booth now. It's like a confessional booth where, you must really bare your soul to increase the numbers or to get judged by the numbers in real time, in fact. And in my own world as well, these numbers help me know whether my products are doing well, whether my services are being latched onto, whether my inbound marketing is working. I thought that was a distraction. Let's keep it that way. Whether all of these are going well. Numbers are the measurements, the graphs. It lets me know whether I am good or things are bad. Keep that in mind. So when we hold these our altars, we bow our head down in supplications. We're constantly doing that. Not because we are in reverence, but because we are praying and pulled to this new altar. And in this altar this arena of where dashboard rules and numbers are determining our progress, what must I do to appease you? What sacrifice is required? The influencer asks. The prophets of this new faith, they are not mistakes. They are not your Babalao or your shaman bent in one forest. No, it is the algorithms. This oracle, this black box, whose ways are mysterious and we must appeal and appease to it, and whose judgments are final. It determines who wins and who doesn't. Whether you like that person's content or you don't, but you're surprised that they have 2 million followers because the algorithm has dubbed them the chosen ones. You see, we don't understand this logic. Sometimes we even form the whole profession around it. We call it digital marketing, we call it go-to-market strategy, we call it data analysis, data science, etc. Because even though we don't understand it, we obey its outcomes. We not only choose to, we must obey its outcomes. It tells us what news matters. It tells us what desires that are trending. In fact, it chooses who we might love and which parts we should optimize our life. We no longer say it is written. We say because the algorithm said so. We quote it in the matters of arguments and in the contention and competition for truth in this new religion. Still waxing lyrical about this new religion. Remember, its own prophets, the prophets of data, they promise you revelation through patterns. I'm also one of them. I work in a consumer insight agency. We do not preach, we predict. We tell you exactly the word and the future that will play out based on the patterns and the insights that are emerging. Us, these prophets, will tell you that with enough information, life can be optimized, outcomes can be guaranteed, and accidents can be abolished. Well, and because we're tired of unpredictability of life and the chaos that comes with being human, we believe these things. We believe these statistics. Our language becomes very number-driven. What's the data backing that information? Our promise is spiritual. Is it? Anyways, it's a world without mystery, it's a world without friction, and it's a world without chance. Some of the things that makes the world as we know it rich. But in this religion, in this new religion, if I may put it that way, it's a heaven of perfect prediction. And we are all serving. And the faith is in numbers. And of course, because the faith is in numbers, is it still faith? And like all religions before it, it demands devotion and sheer blindness. If you question it, you fail. You get rational, you get dropped. You can hold the attention and feed the algorithm, the deity with W, the chosen. So, what happens then when dashboard becomes our moral compasses? When performance replaces purposes? And when measurement replaces meaning? And goodness becomes indistinguishable from efficiency? What then do we do? Do we stop asking, is it right? And should we start asking, does it work? Because the game is the game. The results, in my opinion, is a civilization that knows how to optimize everything except for its soul. And one of my favorite rappers, Jay-Z, once said, we know the price of everything except for the value of it. We are rewarded for momentum, not direction. The matrix moves and it moves us. But is there meaning? Is meaning still moving us? I ask, what happens? Another interesting and emerging question from this new religion is that every other religion promises eternity, a forever and an afterlife. And yes, this one too, it has its own version, but it is offered through storage. Perfect, precise storage. Our data is going to outlive us. Our search histories, our voice notes, our photos, our steps, our metrics, our sleep cycles. This digital self becomes a ghost in the machine, an afterlife of analytics that continues to serve long after our bodies are gone, long after our own natural memory has been decayed. Legacy now is a set. In fact, should I ever say legacy is a data set, if you put it that way. And the soul is a subscription plan. And yet, for all of our metrics, we remain immeasurable, perfectly quantified, but not at all known. Because the mystery of what makes us human and the mystery of the soul, very, very, very deep. But this new religion, everything is measurable in this afterlife of numbers. Now, don't listen to me with some doomsday mindset. No, don't do that. That's not what I'm preaching here. Perhaps the task ahead is not to reject data, but to think deeply about what it now means so that we can revere and the right reverence can be restored to it. Because the patterns and the layers and the structures that makes up this new religion are very, very fundamental to how our entire history as humans have been designed. And in fact, that is the whole point of what I've been saying. So remember that every statistic is a story and that every percentage hides a pulse. We need to find the soul that is hidden in these data systems. And I know a lot of you wonder or think, is it necessary for technology to get esoteric? Again, remember I started by saying quantitative measurements of a qualitative experience. That is what the new religion of data promises. And there's nothing wrong with that. But our job, or rather the task, is to think about it with that awareness so that the scale of what we're building is not lost on us. And the things that makes life worth living, grace, wonder, forgiveness, they continue to exist beyond the grasps of metrics. We should not lose those. In fact, we should ensure that they are preserved, or rather our systems are designed to accommodate that. Because while data might be able to guide us, it cannot necessarily absolve us. It can tell us the score, but it can never tell us the purpose of the game. Nobody knows what life is about. That is a fact. This abstraction innately to life is the beauty and the most indistinguishable thing about life. Because the algorithm may measure everything, but only the human soul can decide what matters. So in this new religion, and in this great future that we're heading to, can't forget the past, like Bob Marley said. But we can be aware and think deeply about the role and the new altars that we have erected, and our devotion to it should not be blinding or blinded or blindly executed, but instead we should pause and restore reverence so that our minds and the same beauty of our intelligence that crafted these behemoths and this new religion would also be aware of what is sacred and the things that makes life worth living in this new religion. Thank you for joining today.